Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mercury. Welcome to my channel. It's my daily vlog, so whatever I'm up to today is what you're gonna see here. And I know I've mentioned before, during the holiday time, I love to make cookies. I love making cookies. Well, not just at the holidays, I always love making cookies, but especially around the holidays. So I stumbled across two different recipes that I'm going to combine to make some sugar cookies that I can eat. So the sugar cookie dough recipe I found on a website called Paleo Running Momma. And then the icing I'm going to use is from a website called Comfy Belly. So I will put a link to both of those websites in the video description. And I'm going to use those two different recipes to make some IBD-8 compliant sugar cookies. Amazing! Let's go to the kitchen. So we have our ingredient lineup. So we have some salt, baking soda, honey, butter, an egg, vanilla, almond flour, coconut flour, and that's it for the cookie part. I'll come back and I'll do another ingredients lineup when I get up to the icing. But for the cookie part, that's what's going on. So what we're going to do, we are going to take the butter and the honey and we're going to cream it together. And I get to use my new handy dandy handheld mixer that I just got. So that's exciting. So we're going to cream those together. And once that's done, we're going to add in the other liquid ingredients like the egg and the vanilla extract. Then we're going to put all the dry ingredients together in a bowl, mix those together, then combine the two of them together, and voila, dough. I don't want to say voila cookies because the cookie part won't happen yet. It's going to have to chill. But that's what we're about to do. Also, here's a handy dandy trick with butter. If you're just learning how to bake and you haven't been baking forever, or even if you have been baking forever and this just somehow, missed you, on the side of butter, let me put that down. On the side of butter, there are measurements. So it tells you how many tablespoons, or if it's a quarter of a cup or a third of a cup, it tells you what you need. So you could just slice right down that line. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. So I need a quarter of a cup, so that's 4 tablespoons. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where I have to cut. Okay, so I got my brand new handy dandy mixer. It's my first time using it, so hopefully this works well. Let's see, gotta unwind this here. Well, cord's all bound up. Come on, cord. Shh. My goodness, that was loud. Okay, I don't have to go far with it. Okay, let me test it. Oh yeah, it works. Excellent. So I already put the lump of butter in there. So now it needs honey. Okay, so now we're going to do the honey. And I've learned over the time of working with honey how to count my measurements. And I count out, tablespoon is a 5-second count for me. Now we're going to use my handy dandy electric mixer here to cream the butter and the honey together. And this is what it looks like. So let me get a spatula so I can show you the consistency. So you see? So that is what creamed butter and honey look like. And now we're going to put in the rest of our wet ingredients. So here's that egg. Here's the vanilla. Let's mix that up. Okay, and that is what this looks like with the egg and vanilla mixed in. Okay, so I'm going to put that to the side, and I'll I leave the mixer with the beaters over the bowl, so if they drip right in. Now I have the little bowl, and into the little bowl goes the dry ingredients. So, almond flours first. Next up, coconut flour. Coconut flour is really unique flour because it's so absorptive. It's like a sponge. So you need so much less coconut flour than other types of flour because it just soaks up all the liquid. It's really interesting to work with. But if you've never worked with it before and you see like, oh, there's only a tablespoon in this recipe, that can't be right. No, it's right. It's right. You don't need a lot. This particular recipe is calling for 1/4 cup. Okay, next up, baking soda. And lastly, salt. I always pour the salt over the sink because I always make a mess. Like this little pour spout, I'm not good with it. I'm gonna take my little spatula and go mix, mix, mix. Just so that it's all blended all through. Okay. Let me clear this area up a little bit. It's time for the dry to get combined into the wet. So we'll do it a little at a time, and I'm going to use the electric mixer until it becomes too thick. So start with a little bit like that. The other thing to be careful of, and part of why we only do a little at a time, is with the electric mixer. If you put too much in and you put the electric mixer on too high, it'll go pff, and all the dry ingredients will go pff, and you'll have like a big cloud and a big mess, and it'll be terrible. Don't do that. Really don't do that. Learn from my mistakes. I've made too many messes. So we're gonna start on low with only a little bit. Now a little bit more. That more. That more. Almost there. Just a little bit. Okay, I think it was last bit. All that. Excellent. Okay, let me just scrape this down, make sure it's all combined. Oh yes. Yes, yes, yes. This is what it looks like. So you'll see it is actually a pretty classic cookie dough type of a consistency. So, next step, this has to chill for at least an hour up to overnight. So this is gonna go in the fridge. And I'll be back in a little bit. So our dough has chilled. See, it's all frosty. So it's pretty solid. And what we're gonna do now is I have my silicone baking mat. What I'm gonna do is roll out the dough on the mat, but I'm gonna put a piece of plastic wrap on top of it. You could use either plastic wrap or parchment paper, either one is fine. We're gonna roll it till it's about 1/4 inch thick, and then we're gonna stamp out our cookies with cookie cutters. And I got a few fun ones. Now I have this rolled out to 1/4 inch, and I have my different cookie cutters. I have this bear, I have a candy cane, and a snow person, and a star. And we're gonna stamp out our cookies and transfer them to another cookie sheet. Here is the first batch. And these are about to go in the oven. So these are not cooked yet. They're gonna go in a 350-degree oven for 10 minutes. And then the rest of the dough that I cut away while those are baking, I'm gonna re-chill it. And then I'm gonna roll it out and do this all over again. So the cookies are almost done. One batch is out of the oven and the other batch is still cooking. Once these cool down, I'm gonna get started on the icing. But in the meantime, I'm gonna show you the ingredient lineup for the icing. The main ingredient is this, which is coconut butter. And coconut butter, from what I understand, is somewhere in between coconut oil and coconut milk. It's like this amalgamation of the two, right? It's the fats from the coconut are still very much present, but it's a creamier, more spreadable version. Like coconut oil, at room temperature it's in solid form, but as soon as you touch it, it just melts away. This should be spreadable the way like a Nutella is spreadable. That's what this should be. Then we're gonna need honey, coconut milk, and vanilla. And that's it. As far as equipment, you either need a double boiler or a makeshift double boiler, which is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a cooking pot and a bowl on top of it. So I'm gonna simmer water in the cooking pot and put the bowl on top. Just make sure if you're doing it this way that you use a pot holder. That bowl can get very, very hot. Okay, so in goes a 1/4 cup of the coconut butter. Okay, so this is what that looks like. And this is not on yet, which is why I don't have the pot holder on. Now I have some coconut milk. There we go. So coconut milk tends to separate. There's a liquidy part and then a more solid fatty part. And I always want to shake the can to get them a little bit more combined, because I want both parts. And you could see it's like very liquidy right now. So that's good. It's well combined. I need a 1/4 cup. And some vanilla. And some honey. Okay, now I'm going to turn the burner on a medium-low heat. And I'm going to mix this up. And I want a pot holder that is shaped like a mitten. Yes, I have the mitten-shaped pot holder. So there we go. Okay, and we're going to mix this up and let this warm up and melt all together until there's no more solids in it. It wants to be totally smooth, just like a regular icing. And you can see right now, that's not the case. There's lots and lots of solid bits in here right now. So that's what I'm melting down. Everything has melted and this is very uniform. It's a very smooth consistency. Let me put my little pot holder back on so I could show you. My pot holder's in the way. There we go. So you can see it's all very smooth and uniform right now. So according to the recipe, the next step is to let this cool down and then it should firm up a little bit. Right now, this is like a glaze. This is not like a frosting consistency. This is definitely like a glaze. So if I were to put this on the cookies now, it would coat the cookie and it would have that, that shiny finish to it, but it wouldn't get the height, the texture. So I'm going to let this cool and see how much this stiffens up. If it stiffens up enough, I'm going to try to pipe it onto the cookies. If it doesn't get stiff enough for piping, then I'm going to either dip it or drizzle it, and we'll just do it as a glaze. We'll see what happens. So I chilled this icing, and it's still pretty runny. So definitely not pipeable, but I'm going to drizzle it on the cookies and let that sit, and hopefully it'll harden a little bit. And we'll see. I'm going to do some with icing, some without icing, so I'll have a good mix. And we'll enjoy some cookies. So we did it. We made our sugar cookies. And the icing is not what I expected, but we'll find out. We'll see how it tastes. So this one is a cookie with icing. So let me taste it. Okay. Okay. The cookie itself tastes just like a traditional sugar cookie. I'm shocked. Like if I didn't know I made this out of almond flour and honey, I wouldn't know. The icing, I had tasted the icing alone and it was like overwhelmingly coconut. It really just like was bam, coconut. But on the cookie, that coconut flavor mellows out. It's definitely still present, but it definitely mellows out. So I was a little concerned when I was making it that it was just like overwhelmingly coconut, but on the cookie itself, it's okay. It's okay. So, so this is really good. Definitely thumbs up Paleo Mama running for the cookie portion of the recipe. Comfy belly. The icing is really good. It's just not what I was expecting, but it definitely works well for these sugar cookies. So I'm gonna finish my cookie and enjoy the rest of my night. And everybody else, until tomorrow, stay inspired by, and I'll see you then. Bye.